it's just all changed, and I'm still slightly in shock of what you see when you go to the races.
I think that now it doesn't seem to be sort of striving for perfection like it used to be years ago.
Fashion does change, and racing fashion is no exception to that, so maybe it has kind of gotten off track.
I guess you've just got to have a giggle and say, well, we wouldn't wear that in our day.
They certainly wouldn't. Plunging necklines, backless frocks, in fact, the more flesh the better, is now the dominant dress code at Melbourne's Spring Racing Carnival. But of course, it wasn't always so.
It's a social event too. Famous faces at the races. There it looks nicer round fair faces and funny chapeaux. And while everyone looks at their hats, they hope the ladies look at the horses, for fashion is always with us, but the Melbourne Cup comes only once a year.
Almost from the moment it started back in 1861, the Melbourne Cup became a premier fashion event for the ladies. Many would plan their outfits for months in advance of the carnival.
There's plenty of gayness in the open air where turf kings walk and style queens talk.
And over the years, the focus on dress intensified with the introduction of a Fashions on the Field competition in 1962.
The matching with the shoes and the bag and the hat and all had to complement the dress and everything was paramount.
There was a section after the Derby in the Melbourne Age on the best dressed women at the races, and we all wanted to be in the top 8.
And did you get into the top 8 a number of times?
A number of times, yes.
The winds of change started to sweep through in 1965 with the arrival of the hatless English model Jean Shrimpton.
Miss Jean Shrimpton's choice of racewear last week swamped the front pages of Australian newspapers with banner headlines. Many of the fashion leaders in Melbourne are still fuming.
I was most disappointed. Most disappointed indeed.
You think she should have worn a hat?
Oh, most definitely.
Because Jean Shrimpton came sleeveless dress and no gloves and no stockings. I mean, it was an absolute outrage.
Of course, the Shrimpton style was nothing compared to what would follow in the ensuing decades. By the 1990s, it had come to this.
Bare legs, fake tan, little sort of itty-bitty hats, not groomed.
Lady Susan Renouf is a well-known fixture of spring racing carnivals. She was once a cub newspaper reporter on fashion. She went on to judge Fashions on the Field, and in 1980 she and her then-husband Robert Sangster won the Melbourne Cup with their horse Belledale Ball. Her eye for fashion detail knew no bounds.
We always had our handbags and our shoes, sometimes dyed to match the colour of the outfit we were wearing, or the main colour. And the hats were works of art.
Some of those hats are now on display at Melbourne's Racing Museum, including one of Lady Susan Renouf's, originally designed by Freddie Fox, milliner to the British Royals.
I just put it on an angle like that, and off I went to the Derby.
Would you wear that now?
Yes, I would.
Did you get a lot of comments at the time?
I did get a lot of comments, particularly from men. They said, when is it flying away?
To cut a striking figure at the carnival, the search for the latest fashions in racing wear does still go on in exclusive boutiques where designer labels dominate.
I think in the marketplace it's difficult for people to find this kind of thing to start off with because most stores don't really stock racewear. They stock more party clothes and this kind of thing, and this, unfortunately, is why the little bare strappy dresses and this kind of thing is really seen at the races more.
Maybe it's now just the affluent and the supermodels who can truly afford what the more traditional fashion doyens deem suitable racing attire. In this corporate marquee on Caulfield Cup Day, they're in abundance.
Here
each day you can see everyone looks glamorous, they all look sophisticated, everyone's made a little bit of effort.
My message I try and send out is to try and embrace that beautiful traditional style.
I don't think it's going downhill. I think young ladies are realising that you don't have to show every part of your body to be sexy and to have fun.
So, here in the land of corporate marquees, while high fashion seems to be alive and well, what about out in the public arena? Let's go and see. It becomes pretty clear that the young women here aren't about to ditch the popular short skirts and skimpy dresses, even on a 16-degree day.
Well, I think it's in line with the fashion of today, I guess. I mean, the more flesh, the better these days. And that's not saying that I'm not, I'm just going with the fashion.
I tried to make my dress shorter, but I couldn't. We don't want to look too old as, older people. We just want to look our age.
I was looking for something affordable and useful. Yeah, and just easy to wear.
And if that's the way it is, the fashion doyens resign themselves to offering this advice for the big racing days ahead.
It's easy to knock back one too many champagnes, but I think, pushing it too far to the point where you can't walk is probably best to be avoided.
They let themselves down, is what I'm trying to say, because of their behaviour, really, rather than what they wear.
Now she's starting to wind up with...
Whether anyone, young or old, takes any notice is another matter. After all, this is Melbourne's biggest party time of the year, and restraint is not exactly the buzzword.
You all having fun?
Yes!